In example 9, we are told that the function f is defined by the function fx is defined by x squared plus 6x minus 5, and of course x is a real number. Part A of this question, we are supposed to write fx in terms of x plus p squared plus q. If you have watched my previous videos, you would have known that this is written after completing the original statement, completing the square of the original statement. And what we need to do, we just need to try and complete the square of the original fx. And we are lucky because the coefficient of x squared is 1. That makes work easier. And it goes without saying that if you completing the square of fx, the original function of x, we have something to do with x plus b over 2, which is 3 squared minus 3 squared. Of course, 5 appears in its own position. And this gives us something to do with x plus 3 squared minus 9 minus 5. And this gives us a final statement that is x plus 3 squared minus 14. You can already see that in this particular setup, p is 3, and because it takes that position, you can see, and q is negative 14. That is as far as part A of the question is concerned. Part B says, hence or otherwise, find the roots of fx, leaving your answer in third form. Find the roots of fx, leaving your answer in third form. We have been told in the previous example that the root of a function is the value of x when fx is equals to 0. So it goes without saying that the fx can be written in terms of x plus 3 minus 14. Of course, this one is squared. This is the one that is supposed to be equals to 0. And of course, at that point, we need to realize that if we cross over the negative 14, we're going to have x plus 3 squared is equals to 14. So if we square root both sides, we are going to have x plus a 3 is equals to plus or minus the root of 14. And it goes without saying, the value of x now becomes minus 3 plus root 14, or x is minus 3 minus root 14. Those are the possible values of x. And I don't know whether we have special instructions. X has two roots, so it has that root and it has that root, so to speak. But what is in part C? Write down the minimum value of fx and state the value of x for which it occurs. The minimum value of fx and write down the value of x for which it occurs. I want us to be very careful with this. I want us to just be very careful with this statement. The minimum value of fx, we are supposed to talk about part C, where we are supposed to give the minimum value of fx. And all of us know that fx is written in terms of x plus 3 squared minus 14. That is fx. And I want us to pay special attention to this particular term, because the secret of this question is hidden in this term. We are supposed to give the minimum value of the function fx, but this term is already squared. And any squared number, the least squared number can only be 0. Any number, whether it was negative before, when it is squared, it can only be positive. So with that understanding, it goes without saying that x plus 3 can only be greater than or equals to 0. Because when it is squared, then it is still 0. Assuming the whole of this bracket is supposed to give us a negative, like a number like negative 2 for that matter, when x is anything else like 1. When this bracket gives us negative 2 squared is 4. And 4 minus 14 is already minus 10. So I want us to consider that, to remember that 4 is far greater than 0. So that explains that this particular bracket, the least value it can afford to be is simply 0. Assuming it is 0, because it can, if x plus 3 is 0, then the least value of fx cannot be 0 minus 14, which is negative 14. And when is it negative 14? It is negative 14 when x plus 3 is equals to 0. So x plus 3, and when is equals to 0, this is when the least value of the function of x is 14. When is it 0? It can only be 0 when x plus 3 is 0. And of course, this means x has to be minus 3. So when the value of x is negative 3, if you put negative 3 here, negative 3 plus 3 give us 0. 0 squared is 0 minus 14, which is the least value of the original function fx. And it can only be realized when x itself is negative 3. Please take care of such questions. This is a bit tricky, but of course you will have to understand that there are some instructions and some silent mathematical rules like this one, that any squared number, the list of value of any squared number is 0. And it is only 0 when 0 squared is, because 0 squared is 0. Okay?